digital games driving them to risky action. Can you describe this to yourself now? We normally plan action from the outer upper aspect of our prefrontal cortex, our executive center. It's called dorsolateral. And plan through our frontal lobe, top down. Good planning, desired goal. Look at the end, run to the end, aim full living. Okay? But when they are wired in the risk center, there's a thing called amygdala that is sending up risk signals. You're under fight. You're under fright. Get ready for flight. Who said that? Digital games said that. Cartoons said that. And they are all impulses are coming from down. That's called bottom-up regulation. What does bottom-up regulation do? Run for life, hide, risk, survive. So they survive from 1 hour to the next hour. This is not a joke. This is a serious problem. So we have to turn it around back to planning, thinking, considering others. Okay? Can this be done? This can be done. But parents have to be involved. Drugs can't do this. What can drugs do? If the child is very inattentive at school, a small dose of methylphenidate, the smallest possible dose, just coming to school will help the child to go through school hours and nothing more after that. Only every other day. This is not what I should be telling you, but that you will protect your child from drugs. You understood? This I should be telling medical practitioners. Don't try drugs more than that. I will not offer this as the first option. I will try to get a child into an empathic learning center. Let the parents see how the child can do well for 90 minutes with what we will quickly do. Okay? Write down your questions. We'll have a question and answer session again at 11 for 10 minutes. This is a long journey. I'm already getting tired. I don't know about you. Pardon? No. Doing this topic, I have become kinesthetic. I think better on my feet on this subject. Beg your pardon? Kinesthetic, I said. No. So, little more on that slide, page 7. Beg your pardon, I'm sorry, page 4. Page 4. Page 4, first slide. Increased response to risk. You understood that? These children are responding to risk, thrill, stimulation that's coming from bottom upwards. But we must teach them top-down executive thinking. Say with, touch your head and say, will you do this with me? Top-down executive thinking. For little things, how they manage their toys, how they manage their pencils, how they manage their artwork, how they manage their clothes cupboard, what they do with their dirty clothes. You understand that? There are things a child can manage at year 1. What can the child manage at year 1? Food, sleep, management at year 1. Okay. On-edge risk-taking generation, risk in finances, gambling, sex, courting danger. Part of the sexual revolution is digital. Next slide. Effects of digital overstimulation, underwiring, executive control of dorsolateral part of prefrontal cortex. Top-down, good executive thinking our children must have. Planned and empathic pathways of frontal cortex, considering others. Inability to pick up phonemes in the first 3 years. This is another subject. We'll do it in the next slide. Underwiring of intrapersonal thinking. Child thinking for himself. Because child got too much from the cartoons and the digital screens. Digital screens show them, tell them what to do. Normal child with normal toys, handling the sizes, shapes, angles, building blocks, dolls, whatever, handling. Child thinks himself, develops language. He's talking to himself. I'll take it and put it here. I'll take this and put it here. First year, little child. Can you see he's talking inside? Whereas when he's set before the digital screen, he takes the idiot screen. This is his brilliant movement. Now this is 2D. So he goes 2 into the power 2. All of normal life is 3D. He sees 3D, he handles 3D. Handling is another language. So give him many objects to handle. Angular ones, spherical ones, cylindrical ones. Now he doesn't say this is a circle pi r squared. He doesn't know to say that. But he knows the circle. He knows the sphere. Are you following? He knows the cone. Spatial language he's writing up. You give him the digital screen. All 2D input. 2 into the power is 4. 2 into the power 3 is how much? 8. So what has happened? From 8, you have brought down your child's brain to 4. How much is the reduction? Big reduction. You have halved his brain wiring. This is not a joke. Digital screen doesn't make brilliant. It reduces the brain a lot. Professor Manfred Spitzer, he's German. You can go on the Google, SPITZER. I refer to him in that note. He has done some brilliant work on this. Children should not be given laptops. Their learning doesn't improve. Okay? And digital screen reduces long-term memory. We will come to that. So, what does the digital screen do? Underwires executive control, underwires plan empathic pathways, language picking up becomes difficult. How the child thinks for himself is reduced. He becomes an absorbent of outside thoughts and stimuli. He can't wait and do something by himself. He constantly needs this stimulus to keep him going. Linguistic abilities reduce. Interpersonal skills go off. Because he's so glued on the screen, isn't it? So in some countries, they have now the pathways for people on the Facebook and on the Twitter. So it's a separate road. Then the logical, mathematical sequences of their brain have not wired. This is serious consequences to what they can be doing in the future. Language and social contact. Children best absorb language, that is page 5, next slide. Children best learn languages, and the basic structural unit of the language is called phoneme, P-H-O-N-E-M-E. First year, child can learn any language. In the first year, child can learn any language. And the child learns language best from the mother's voice. Father contributes, siblings contribute, then others, grandparents or whoever it is. He picks up the phonemes. You give the child digital sound or digital screen or television, He loses personal inflections, mood, empathy that comes from the natural human voice. That's why when we are talking through a microphone, we try to adjust this to be as natural as possible to the frequencies I normally carry. So much more for a child. If the child is hearing 20, 30 digital voices over 8 hours, 4 hours, that child muddles up his language picking up. Okay? Child best picks up language in the first year. Some more in the second year. By the third year, natural design of God in us to pick up languages works in the first 3 years. After that, if the child didn't pick up language, child has to learn languages like learning a subject. Now, having not picked up language, you know how difficult it is to learn a subject. Imagine if you don't pick up language, natural way, how difficult it is to learn language. So recently a child came, that mother was never there, father is actually the one who tried to help the child. They are both high earners. Child is going, very angry. Child can't communicate. No medical problem. Only that, child never heard natural languages. Are you listening? Very sad. So the first 3 years, more the mother is and more family members are with the child, better the child picks up the language. World over, language is a problem. And languages are suffering. The language content, the range of words children use are suffering because they use limited number of words to express their thoughts. This began with the digital overplay in a child's life. Talk to the child normally as much as possible. Also, don't go making funny sounds to the child. Talk to the child as if the child understands. Child is understanding. Phonemes are being written in the child's brain from day dot. Talk to the child. Okay? That's about language. Cartoons affects child in many ways. I have already mentioned this. It can be in the womb. Mother's digital activity affects the child in the womb because neurotransmitters cross the baby's brain. Page 6. Cartoon, color, speed and sound. Cartoons have a color mix different to nature. Colors are too bright and contrasting, constantly changing. All these connect neurons of right parietal and visual cortex too much. So the child hasn't picked up the basics, but have learned the effects. I repeat, child didn't pick up the basics, but have learned the effects. So the child is play acting seemingly, fantasizing things, when he cannot do the simple things of life. Next slide, right brain overwiring. Passive stimulus rather than creative interaction with live toys, crafts, arts, etc. wires up the child for repetitive responses than creative responses. What do I mean by that? When the child is working with actual toys, he thinks creatively and builds building blocks. He takes a pencil and he begins to draw. This good old time stuff, you know, what our parents did to us. Duck. And the child hears doll, the word, child touches doll, child sees doll. Hearing language said doll. Then child saw doll. And child touched doll. All three add up to a language in the brain. Did you understand that? Every toy child handles, makes, breaks, you know, whatever at every stage. What he can do at 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, he's doing it creatively. So you get the child into pencils, pastels, clay, creole, okay? He is doing it, he's thinking. He's drawing seemingly rubbish, but he's doing it. He takes the iPad or